Hello. Damn, my hair is always so poofy when I start. Or when I've just washed it, which is why it's so like how is everybody doing? Oh no, baby. What? Oh no. I need something. Can you get me beverage? In the fridge? Pretty please? Thank you, love. Oh yeah, if you have flights, oh my gosh. Yeah, Shrimpy, you're giving me suburban mom vibes right now. That's the horniest thing somebody said to me in a long time on my stream.
It's really not.
No, to me it is. To me that is. To me that's turned up right there. Thank you, my love. Thank you, baby. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Here. Let's just get the star of the show here. Yeah, hey, yo, baby. Hey, yo, baby. Okay, she has assumed the position. If you're going to do that, you might as well fill my water, because I'm going to need that too. Why is my controller not working again? Look at Miss, look back at y'all. What? You know where it is. Everybody loves this cat. Everybody loves her swag.
Aura farming.
Aura farming. Yeah, this cat is aura farming. Look at that. Look at that. Of course she's aura farming. You're such a little chud dork cat. El gato. I know. Oh, I didn't actually mean to. Oh, thank you, baby. I was joking. Thank you.
I took it literally. Classic.
Damn. You're not good at reading social cues, babe.
Something, they're not written down.
They're not written to your phone. Who's having a safety meeting? Pat Shannon, 7230. ICE is currently deployed at airports. Flight cancellations because of LaGuardia collisions, or why? So, Errol Scheist, what's happening right now is there has to be reporting on it, of course. Let me find something really quick. Here we go. We'll just dive right into it today. Mess, do you have something you want to tell everybody? Tell them your wisdom. She has said her piece, apparently. Soar. ICE officers deployed to some airports as TSA callouts worsen. Lola Strange, does Kitty like soft pets or aggressive pets? She just loves attention, honestly. Like the way I know somebody is cool, like they pass the vibe check, is if she just like goes over and walks on top of them. Both of my current partners completely pass the vibe check immediately. with both cat and dog. But between you and me, don't let Lady know I told you this. Lady's a really bad judge of character. She would sell me for a piece of ham. What are you laughing at? She would say, "Oh, this ham. Oh, this person did raise me since I was a baby and loves me unconditionally, but also one slice of ham."
What is it for how a ham is?
That's the stupid chud voice we give Lady around the house, which is entirely, by the way, Koa's fault.
No, it's Lady's. It's entirely Lady's fault for being a child.
Nick Shirley is investigating daycare centers again. Kamerv Hesiod, that's so fucking funny because he got shut down on every other. He immediately jumped to the California spending grift. That was debunked. He did one other thing recently, and that was like also incredibly quickly debunked. He's just not. You could tell it from the Channel 5 interview. He's just a fucking dum-dum. Like, he's just really dumb. Okay, you cannot be climbing up on my shoulder and stuff all day, Cuban. You cannot be doing that. You cannot be doing that, princess. All right. ICE deploys to airports. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents have been deployed to 14 airports to help during the DHS shutdown. The Transportation Security Administration is facing growing call-outs from officers who have gone without pay since DHS funding lapsed in February. So here's the part that is equally, well, I don't, in the abstract, I think it is pretty funny. I think it is certainly fitting. I know, however, if I were a person that needed to fly in the last couple days, if I were doing that, having to do that for work or to reach family, or like, that shit would be rough. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, Dead Domain, check out the new Surfs video about Andrew from Channel 5. Let me know. Let me know that in a minute, Johnny Viral. Don't let me forget that. Don't let me forget that. Squadies, thank you very much. Your Go Live notification interrupted my 5th listen through of your power metal anthem. All right, here's the unfortunate thing, and I learned this after the stream. The Hate Church song they wrote for me is unfortunately incredibly catchy. Like, I had that shit stuck in my head, no joke, for like maybe a week afterwards. I kept like humming it, and Koa would be like, "Babe," and I would be like, "It's my theme song, leave me alone." Megan and I wanted to take a trip to visit her best friend and out sort of niece, but like, fuck flying right now. Yeah, it is. Excuse me. I was thinking about the logistics of this, or the logistics of, you could not find a worse spot for ICE to be in terms of reflecting on this administration. Like, you could not have, because airports have thousands, tens of thousands in some of these major airports of foot traffic from all over the world every day. Adults and children, entire families, people traveling alone. Like, you are putting all of these people into contact with a completely unaccountable organization like ICE that has, on the few chances, here was the thing that really I was thinking about, were camera phones, is that we only have so much knowledge of what happened to Alex Preddy and Renee Good because people were recording. because those things went around very quickly, because people engaged with them and could see what was happening with their own eyes. How much do you think? We already saw it. It didn't take a couple hours until today. There were several videos going around showing off ICE detaining people in airports and then showing off 3-4 hour lines. It's unfucking believable. Yeah, Lowless Rain. ICE agents are being paid fully despite the shutdown. TSA agents are working without. So, like, imagine you work in an airport and you get these shit sticks, these fucking rent-a-cop lobotomites sent to your airport. And these ICE agents, the other thing that was going around, if they weren't tackling citizens who didn't have a proper piece of paper, they were fucking just standing around grab-assing all day. Ghost EA 6827, Dead Domain, I have your theme song stuck in my head. We were literally just talking about that. Maba Zichi, thank you very much for following. Cat. Yeah, high stress, high traffic area full of foreign people being patrolled by insane hair trigger bigots sounds like a great idea. I can't, I don't know, I have to go back and watch, but like I can't imagine anybody gives them fucking guns in there. Like, they probably will though. I don't. It is we're gonna watch a little bit of a thing from Trump today, and that was like a press conference they did, and I think it is becoming so clear that the wheels are falling off the bus around Trump. Even to his most loyal adherents, even people like Stephen Miller, because so many people seem to know that this is a limited meal ticket right now, that Trump's time is dwindling one way or another. And if not in the relevance and direct power of... Cat, come on now. What do you... In the relevance and direct power of the United States, then certainly in our like global position as a hegemonic leader. Like, we have completely fucked that over. It doesn't matter. You could get fucking like I don't know. Everybody I think of is actually problematic. You could get the best hope for, you get fucking John Connor, right, to lead the country after whatever whatever ashes Trump leaves us in. It will not repair the devastating impact that particularly the shit we've done with Iran will have on everybody else in the world's perception of us. Cat. Okay, I have to remove you, Kevin. Everybody say goodbye to Kevin. No, baby. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Hear about the Air Canada crash that seemed to have been caused by understaffing. I did. Yeah, that's like it was literally what, not even a week into Trump's first term that an airplane crash, or second term that an airplane crashed. Travelers have already been dealing with worsening airport times with George Bush International Airport warning flyers it could take more than 4 hours to get through. That is so crazy. I was just talking with Koa about like how insane that is for a wait time, because last time I flew out of LA, flying in to a place always easier, especially out of, thankfully, Spokane's airport it's not the tiniest thing in the world, but it's pretty small, super easy to get through. The flying into a place, infinitely easier. Flying out of places is always the hard part, especially when it's a massive city, like if I'm flying out of, JFK or LAX or one of those, because those, if you haven't been to a massive city airport, or more, I guess I should say more accurately, if you haven't had to quickly cross a massive city airport, to get your next flight. You have a different perception of like, okay, I need to be here early for this shit because it gets big. And my time in LA going into it, I was so worried. I got there, I think Lana and their fiance dropped me off. It was like 2.5 hours early because I'd always rather be early for those things than not. And I was shocked. It was lines of hundreds of people to get there because this is LAX, right? Hundreds of people went by like that. Same pat down, same scanning, everything. It was such a smooth, well-oiled machine. And it was constantly moving. Middle of the day, LAX, like prime time. The idea of taking a situation like that and making it so that you may be in line for 4 hours I can't imagine the mass of fuck ups that would be necessary to make this happen. El Salve, thank you very much for $5. The UN just watching Iran is as useless as they are portrayed in Team America, where Kim Jong-il is only threatened with angry letters by Hans Blix. Yeah, I kind of feel like so much of the rest of the world right now wants to be as diplomatic about it as possible, but are using the war in Iran, it's a war now, to say, no, I think maybe this is where we and the rest of America go our separate ways. Maybe we're not as chill with America anymore. Like they have so much more excuse amid this to cut diplomatic ties. Whereas before, that could be seen as more of an act of aggression. Or not aggression, but passive aggression. You just went and checked. The airport ICE agents appear to be armed. Love that for us, honestly. DHS reclines to report. Deployed to 14 ICE airports across the country today. GOP senators meet with Trump Monday to discuss ICE funding. How many billions are we going to give him then? All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to try and... I will be right back. I go feed dog. Haley DDDD. Hello. Always happy to see you live. Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's go. So first off, we have a hot clip of Markwayne Mullins, the man that John Fetterman just helped progress on. This is Trump's nominee for the Department of Homeland Security. And with that's all you really need to preface. I think it's actually, this might be one of the few times I've ever really seen where it's not nominative determinism, but it is a moment when somebody's name inadvertently tells you kind of everything you need to know about him. The fact that his one name is Markwayne. It's like a picture. It's worth 1,000 words. America's broke, so where do we get the money for war? Aha! You see, there's this thing called the national deficit that totally exists, but absolutely doesn't. It's really more like Schrodinger's deficit, right? Because it's something that is basically used by both political parties as a blank check for whatever legislative agenda they want. And then when they reach the third year of every cycle and they have to start electing again or start running elections, they basically play hot potato, and whoever's in power has to take the blame for why it's not working correctly. And then they go, oh, no, it's because of this person. Oh, no, it's because of this person. And then the next 3 years go by and it goes back to being a blank check. Oh, but anyway. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted reading the chat. Yeah, the deficit is only real when Democrats are in the White House. And then it becomes a thing that they can run on and be like, yo, they ran up the deficit this many times. And it's it's not a fucking real thing in any way that matters outside of being a political pawn. Yeah. Now, you take Lara, for instance, when she was a girl, trying to spank her tail was like a 4-minute ordeal because she's like, no, daddy, no, daddy, no, daddy, no. I'm sorry, daddy, I'm sorry, daddy. And then she'd get madder and madder, and she just couldn't bring herself to even bend over for me to be able to bust her butt. And I was like, honey, you got like 2 seconds, or you're going to get 2 instead of 1. Sick fucking people, dude. These are so this is him talking about disciplining his daughter. Fucking psychopaths, man. They're, truly loving little girls. You just can't see, you can't imagine how loving they are. I can spank them, and I'm still upset, and they'll come and crawl on my lap 2 minutes later and just hug on me. I've had to learn how to forgive more. That's like stomach churning. That's fucking freak shit, dude. That's... So this was at a church in 2022. One thing I was raised by the fear of a belt. Okay? And I deserved them, Dad. I did, right? But I never seen a man that could take the belt off so fast, double it up, and still hit you. I don't know how in the world he done that. I tried it, and I just can't. What there needs to be a name for this specific brand of self-subjugating white Midwestern evangelical humor. Because this is the kind of joke you will hear only exclusively in places like this, in places like evangelical churches, in places like the hate church, where it is just entirely disparaging yourself to justify what is, make no mistake, abusive behavior. K-Thing, thank you for €2. Sounds like future estranged parent to me. I hope so. J Kung, thank you for $2. Mark is a Brokeback Mountain extra. He wishes. Fear was enough to keep me straight, right? But the discipline was just. Wasn't overacted, it was just. So I learned respect from the discipline. No, you learned fear. Fight now, but thank you for 150. Howdy, DD. Taking a smoke break at work because I had a thought so rude that my own brain did a double take like, holy shit, bro, are you okay? Oh, I hope you enjoy your smoke break. Yeah, I just disgusting human being. All right, let us. That's mine. So we're gonna. I want to see if I can find this really quick. Oh, the Charlie Kirk episode. Oh, ooh, I might have to watch that. Got some good fucking polls on the Rex today. What was I doing? I was doing right. Reporters on Iran. Here we go. Memphis Safe Task Force. So this was this today.
Of the work that President Trump is doing, not only in Memphis, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the country, ultimately, it will save and is saving tens of thousands of American lives. It is, I'll use that word again, what President Trump has done on border security and public safety is a national miracle that will be studied not only for generations, but for centuries to come. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Steve.
Centuries to come. I fucking... What a, like, just truly a little mealy-mouthed worm. One of the most sycophantic, conniving, like, how a actually craven embodiment of evil to me. Always will be. Yeah. Oh, wait, Charlie Kirk's benefactor and his mentor died in a freak pickleball accident, I heard.
So
that's what they want you to think.
See if you can top that. I don't know. That's a tough one, Cash.
That is tough. You know, Mr. President, as I look around this venue, I see, and I'm reminded again, why we have the greatest warriors on God's green earth, the men and women.
It's like, I don't want to say Kash Patel doesn't believe that. You have to also understand Kash Patel, another completely subservient beta, made his bones really within the Trump. Well, he's mostly a podcast dude, but along the way published a series of children's books depicting him as a wizard helping King Trump defend a kingdom. This is true. Kash Patel. The plot against the king. And then government gangsters. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This, like, look at this shit, dude. This is Kash Patel's fucking output, man. El Salve, thanks for $2. Thoughts on the OnlyFans founder's death? Okay, so somebody fill me in on this because I saw somebody being like, oh, would it be fucking based and epic if Elon took over OnlyFans or whatever? And I don't think that's how a company works. There's usually somebody under the owner, like a CFO or something, to take over. I feel like ownership isn't just going to be up in the air. Jake Hung, thank you for $2. Who is more evil, Miller or Frieza? I don't know from Dragon Ball really, but I'm going to say Miller either way. Yeah, let's oh, these are the 4 pictures, that and then just a picture of Kash Patel with President Trump. Woof, dude. Is there a read sample, or is that's the sample? Okay. All right. I guess that is sample. The story of Kash Patel. Oh no. Every hero has a beginning, and Kash Patel's began in the bustling streets of Queens, New York. Who's Frieza? Is he the green guy? No, you're thinking of Piccolo. I can't believe you don't even know from Dragon Ball. This has to be AI, right? Like there's a 0% chance this isn't just. Let me give me that. Yeah, that's AI as shit, dude. That's AI as hell. Somebody's out here making AI biographical books about Kash Patel. Man. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to leave this playing for y'all, unfortunately.
Serving in uniform, the men and women serving and wearing the badge, and law enforcement, our police, our sheriffs around the state of Tennessee. I'm reminded that Americans exist to protect this country day in and day out, and they've done it like we've done it here. But what we didn't have was you. We didn't have a commander-in-chief who backed the blue, who resourced the blue, who funded the military, who did whatever it takes to safeguard every single life. And here in Memphis, Tennessee, you have put on a show for the world. You have allowed us to go out there and capture gangbangers, rapists, murderers, drug dealers at record historic levels. And for me, a first-generation Indian-American kid whose parents fled a genocide in East Africa to become the 9th director of the FBI, I'm living the wildest dream you could possibly imagine, sir. But it's thanks to you. But more importantly, what I see when I look out across our great partners here in the interagency, and our great legislatures, and our great prosecutors, and our great attorney general who has the guts to go out there and make arrests, turn them into prosecutions, and put people in prison, you are giving that dream to every single child in the state of Tennessee. You are inspiring the nation and law enforcement to come up and wear the badge and wear the colors of this country and safeguard our men and women for generations to come.
Cash, okay, you got it. You got to pay attention. Pay attention to the head pats for when you're supposed to stop sucking. You can't just, you got to come up for air at some point, dude. Man. Cash ruins everything around me. Yeah, I can see why you got the job too. Jesus. All right, let me. So here was one. Memphis ABC 7 catches a deep sigh from Stephen Miller as Trump peddles his ever-changing justifications about Iran.
Iran's missile capabilities were also growing so fast that it would soon have become virtually impossible to stop them. Once they have a missile, once they have...
That is the look of a man who knows this shit is going sideways. CR Rent, oh my gosh, holy shit. Thank you very much, CR Rent, for $75. Hey, DD, I've been going through on a detox. I hope you and the chatters have been well. I know I say it a lot, but hope is a valuable resource these days, not just to have, but to share. I hope you've been giving as much as indulging when you have the time. I don't know about indulging. I haven't done much indulging, but I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I hope you are doing well. I hope your detox goes well. So I do want to watch a little bit of this. And then what was the... Oh, Johnny Viral, what was the thing I was just going to tell you to remind me to watch? Oh, yeah, the surfs video. Okay. On, no, it's not going to be that, is it? Hey, it is the surfs. Yep, the Andrew Callaghan video. Wow, the Surfs only has 78K? Really? Oh, you know what? I guess Surfs does more stuff on the Twitch. God damn, what's the other thing I'm streaming on right now? Brain, thanks. Dractus Stormscale, thank you very much. All right, let's go.
Didn't deter.
Make
It
America
made me
safe again.
more anxious, and it just made it much more important. This mission that we're all on together was much more important, and we did it quicker. Iran's missile capabilities were also growing so fast.
Before the
that it
moment
would soon have
passes,
become
all right, I will look in more
virtually
chat.
impossible to stop them. Once they have a missile, once they have what they were building was incredible. And you got a little glimpse of it by the fact that when they came out, they started shooting all of their neighbors. Their neighbors weren't fighting with them. They were getting along okay with their neighbors. And I was surprised. Everybody was surprised. And it actually worked in reverse because their neighbors then turned against them. Now Iran has one more opportunity to end its threats to America and our allies, and we hope they take it. Either way, America and the entire world will soon be much safer and will be a much more secure planet. In addition to all of this, we're working on so many different things. You know, our economy was fantastic. We had a Dow at 50,000. They say it couldn't happen in 4 years. It wouldn't happen during my term. But if I got anywhere close, it would be a great success. Well, in my first year, we hit 50,000.
Oh, Christ.
And with the S&P, they said...
One thing I hate is how much I know all of these people now. Like, they truly went after the idea of being influencers so much that keeping up with politics is now keeping up with the Kardashians or Jersey Shore or any of the other lowest caliber white trash that somehow manages to get on a screen. Like worse, sub Jersey Shore. And I have to know about these people's personalities now. I have to know about Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi. I have to know, like, about the goings-on in their fucking lives. Yeah, seeing Kash Patel say gangbanger, it feels weird. Doesn't it? I don't know. Gangbanger has always been, like, even as a kid, I was like, can white people? I don't think white people can say that. Like, it has always felt weirdly racially coded. Vitriolic Vermilion, I'm so glad you're streaming. Very important story to tell you. Don't know if you remember me, my PFP. I do not, but I always have something open in my email. Pete segment. Ugh. The Pete segment with Pete Hegseth.
Even more difficult, they said it would be impossible to hit 7,000 on the S&P. And we hit that in our first term. And then, unfortunately, I came responsible for getting rid of the criminals that Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and his gang of thugs in the White House. You talk about weaponization. They weaponized everybody. You know, when Pam looks at somebody, oh, it's weaponization. They've indicted me. What they've done to me and everybody else.
As they're literally going through the process of trying to criminalize the idea of dissent. As they want to talk about weaponization, and they just leveled federal charges at people for transporting fucking zines. In the Prairie Hill case, I just put out a video on this. If you don't know, if you missed that story, please go check it out. Why am I not on Twitch? Am I not? No, I'm on Twitch. Time sensitive stuff, I'll email. Okay, yeah, go for it. I will try and get back to you. Hey, Joey J.
Disgrace. They're the weaponizers, and what they've done to people, can never let that happen again. We can never let them get away with it again. They are the greatest weaponizers.
CR friend. CR friend, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Forgot I had this milestone. I don't know. I know. I'll use it for a really funny joke before I hit the 150 character limit. Something clever. I got it. Very clever. Very clever. That translates amazingly to me reading it out. But thank you very much.
Fortunately, it didn't work because
okay,
here I am
now.
with you. So it didn't work out too well.
Give me a subject line. You can just say your username and I'll remember it.
But they want to have people come into our country. And so many of these people are murderers. They're drug dealers. They're the worst criminals anywhere in the world. They want them in our country.
It's just an hour and a half of this shit, dog.
Come out. They make it almost impossible, but it's so negative. It's so negative. In the year before I took office, Memphis saw more than 12,500 violent assaults, 429 rapes, and 7,600 burglaries and armed robberies. And I mean, it was getting worse. This catastrophe.
Yep, you are definitely getting worse, dude. Jesus Christ. He's starting to resemble, because Trump. So Biden had a little bit of a stutter, and if I remember that right, that was a speech impediment that he, grew out of when he was younger, or that at least affected him a little bit. But when Trump, and so Biden would have like pauses and lapses, and when he was having a hard moment, he would do the like an old person like failing to load a little bit. Trump is rhinoceros-like in all things but their majestic nobility in the animal kingdom. And by that I mean he would rather just plow right through. And I think that ethos goes so far down into his core that even when his brain is starting to short circuit, he can't help but just go like, and just like continue trying to find footing until you can just launch back into it. And that's what I saw in the last like 20 seconds here. He is a couple mental slip-ups away from just Porky Pigging it all the time.
Took office, Memphis saw more than 12,500 violent assaults, 429 rapes, and 7,600 burglaries and armed robberies. And I mean, it was getting worse.
Yeah, just like whoop. You can almost hear like actual cartoon sound effects going off in his head as he's describing and trying to move from one subject to the other, just going like whoop, 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 whoop.
The result of years of local politicians, judges, and prosecutors who sided with violent criminals over law-abiding citizens. Basically, liberals, or now they like to go with the word progressives. You don't hear liberal. They're liberal. I don't like progressive because it's a beautiful word. They use progressive because that's the only thing they're good at, politics, I guess. They're bad at policy.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like you watch, I feel like everybody still forgets how bad he's gotten, because whomst among us wants to willingly sit down and watch every speech he does? But the people who have studied and watched so much of Trump shit over the years. Hey, baby, could you feed Miss? Thank you. Like, he's turned off. Like, there's fucking nothing going on up there. Like, it's not even a gerbil up there. It's just a dead hamster that died at the wheel.
Because all these policies are bad, but they're great at politics, and they do stick together.
Have I seen Ready or Not 2 yet? No, I want to.
Stick together. They're good at politics, but they're bad at policy because they can't sell open borders. They can't sell transgender for everyone. they can't sell men and women's sport, so they.
Trump has Gene Simmons' brain, which, if you don't know what I mean by that, when Kiss broke big in the 70s, before it was known as before, I think Gene Simmons is largely part of the reason why Kiss is looked back on with disdain as this very commercialized entity. Because, yeah, to him, it absolutely was. Like, it is no shock. It's no surprise or revelation that Gene Simmons turned Kiss into a fucking merchandising machine. And this was before that was like a thing for bands to do. Trump has that same need to constantly be branding and creating and proliferating branding, because once you have a guy like that, they don't stop trying to make things under their name. And Trump continues to do that even with his little colloquialisms that I don't think at this point, even for people, like, is transgender for everyone catching on? Because he keeps fucking saying it. He keeps fucking saying transgender for everyone. Mutilization. He continues to spell mutilation, mutilization. Like a combination of mutilating and militarizing. It is so bizarre because he's started doing it more and more lately. Like it's been getting worse. Thank you very much for $5 from El Salve. Do you think that Trump intentionally postponed the strikes just so he could quickly buy and sell billions of shares at the stock market for profit? I'm sure that if not him, then Eric or Don Jr., one of those dipshits, people are absolutely gaming the system from the inside. That doesn't surprise me. I think it probably has more to do with the fact that he has been very obviously playing and gaming the stock market lately in terms of being like, okay, we're done in Iran. We've won in Iran. Stock market goes up. Stock market starts to dip because he will have to be like politically, no, we're still going boots on the ground. Stock market goes down. He says, okay, no, but we've totally won and we're talking with Iran. We're talking, we're going to restore stuff. Stock market goes back up. He'll be like, we're going to totally destroy them and decimate and blow up the entire region and all their oil facilities. Stock market goes down. He panics. Absolutely no. I'm on the phone with the Ayatollah right now. Like right now, guys. Don't even stock market. Don't even worry about it. Stock market goes back up. And so it's been continuing for like fucking 3 weeks, dude. It is insane the amount of brazen manipulation happen, because it's not like nobody can put two and fucking two together of what's actually happening there. It is hot in here. I don't know why I'm so warm. It's heating up. I'm getting like really flushed. Nitric oxide. How goes the war, fellow reprobates?
Can be the greatest politicians in the world. That's why I'm here instead of them, I guess. But just as we have in D.C., here in Memphis, we've achieved one of the largest, fastest declines in violent crime ever recorded. So that
is such, like, he really does just, he's going downhill. The largest, fastest declines. Come on, dude.
Something, right? Ever recorded. In fact, you're half a percentage point away from the record, so we'll catch them in the next month or two, all right? I think that's going to happen. But that includes, I know all about you. That's great. Let me know when it's finished, you got to send me a copy, okay?
Clear and concise. Crime will not prevail in Memphis, period.
Thank you, President Trump. Some people choose to tolerate crime, but you...
Why is DEA? Oh, okay. No, this is the. Oh, they have Trump posted up with a bunch of fucking drug enforcement agency. What the fuck? Contraband. Like stuff that's been taken from crime scenes and shit. Like they have him fucking posted up with this shit like he's the dude that solved the big case. Like this is the end of a fucking Lethal Weapon movie. What the fuck? That's crazy, dude. Oh my God.
Law and order. And that's why this task force worked. It was all of us, as Gaddy said, working hand in hand with my FBI,
God,
DEA,
every single
US
one of them does
Marshals,
this, huh?
ATF, with Cash, with Terry, with Rob.
Nehemia, thank you very much for $5. He always sounds like he's whining about being convicted for something he definitely did. I want him to I want a Family Guy fall downstairs moment. I really do. I really do. That's all I'm hoping for. Every day, every time I'm like, ooh, that ladder. Oh, somebody, like a forklift to come hit the ladder when he's walking down it from Air Force One. We're good. It's done. Ugh. All right, I'll be right back.
With Gaddy. Not only that, with Pete, with Department of War, with Homeland Security, with all of my agencies working hand in hand with the National Guard. When you went out there, when we came to Memphis, you could not tell who was with what agency because everyone was working so well together. Our U.S. Attorney, Mike Donovan, was out there. And not only this, everyone needs to know, we met with this president multiple times about this endeavor. The president knew what was going on here. The president cared. People like Alice Johnson sitting in the front row, who is a Memphis resident, she told us what a horrible crime problem there was. And
chat, do you remember when we were watching, when was it? Was it Monday last week when we were watching the Markwayne Mullins DHS hearing? And he told some bullshit story about, well, President Trump, when my kid was sick, President Trump gave him a call and said, you know why I love your dad so much? Because he loves you, and made up that dumb bullshit. This feels the exact same. And I brought up Brianna Wu and how when you've watched so much shit from Brianna Wu, you've realized I get 2 drinks from that. As penance. When I brought up Brianna Wu was the context of like using this same tactic over and over again. And that is what's happening here. It is this constant, everything is behind the scenes. Even when there's no fucking need for like there to have been like, this president took an active interest in this and like, he didn't need to do that. It's like, yes, he actually does now. It's his fucking job. What are you talking about? Why are you being like, you know, he was doing such a big president did such a big president job on this thing. Like, sycophantry. Like few things set me off like people just slavishly licking the boot like this. Do what?
Turn on the AC for you.
Oh, thank you, baby. The AC? Oh, thank you. Thank you, love. Nehemia, thank you very much for $5. He always... Wait, no. Whoa, why is that? Bondi always sounds like she's hammered, but without the slurring. She has that, like a bum, bum, bum cadence to it that I definitely, yeah, I see that. I agree. Hand me your latest one, or your, okay, wait, there we go. El Salve, thank you for $5. Trump said he won after destroying Iran. Iranian lives reminds me of that Canada on strike episode from South Park where the elites partied despite the cost. That's a lot of that. This, if you go watch my video essay on Dishonored, I'll say.
And I think the unsung hero in all of this is Stephen Miller. Stephen is the...
That is fucking insane. That's a fucking insane. Just being a Nazi cunt for the love of the game is crazy. I think actually Stephen Miller is a hero is fucking nuts. Like, does he have your children hostage in a basement somewhere, Pam? Like, has he threatened to eat your children's toes when he's hiding under beds at night? Like, what the fuck?
Architect of making all of these plans work. Stephen, thank you. Thank you. And just
the worst possible kind of autism. It's like, we would not be able to have nationwide purges of the undesirables if this pimple-headed freak didn't stay up all night for days on end with no sleep to make sure America was a little bit whiter but can't pay for anything. So thank you, Stephen Miller, again, once more, thank you. Fucking, what are you talking about, dog?
two very brief examples. There was a horrible murderer, Arsenio Davis, who last October committed a gruesome double homicide. He killed his mother and dismembered another person. And based on this task force working hand in hand, he's off the street. Another example, a horrible monster who's charged with raping a small child. This task force, all of these members working together, arrested him. We can give you countless examples of that. 770, over 770.
He doesn't give a fuck. Like, just could not give two shits less. That's just
70 gang members off the streets. And we know there's no normal day for a law enforcement officer. We know it's so dangerous what our law enforcement officers do. But know this, Donald Trump and this administration, we have your backs. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. And Pete Hegseth, who's been unbelievable at what he's doing, is nobody better. That was a wise choice. Pete.
See, again, goddamn reality and what you can see and what we have proof of right in front of our faces. Damn reality when I can just say, no, it was a great choice. I made that choice. And like, the fact that there are literally any Trump diehards left is stunning to me. I'm going to be real. Tom 5227, I've seen the Mert KK's Dark Souls and Marxist analysis video. No, I have not. Okay, thank you for Vitriolic Vermilion. Velka's made me. Thank you for following. Some polycules do this every week if one of them has a praise kink. So I have heard.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for your...
He looks so fucking dumb, dude. That's all I can see every time. Like, how fucking tight and uncomfortable those suits look. Because he wears suits like a frat bro in fucking 2011. Like, one size too small. So it makes his guns look fucking huge. But it doesn't. It just looks weird and uncomfortable.
Historic leadership on Operation Epic Fury. The success you've laid out was only possible because of the military you rebuilt, as well as the historic success here.
What the fuck do you mean rebuilt? What the only possible because the military. El Salve, I can fix her. I can fix Bondi. No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I hate this motherfucker.
Here in Memphis. And I want to start by thanking every patriot in this room, in law enforcement, and the nearly 1,500 National Guard members for your heroic efforts in this operation. This is more than a task force. This is a statement not just in this city, but across the nation. When I look around this table, I'm looking at people that we work with every day: Governor, Cash, this team, the National Guard, Pam, Stephen, as was mentioned, Gaddy, the Speaker, at the federal level and the state level, working hand in glove. It doesn't happen any other way. You see, before
Hand
President
in glove,
Trump,
probably.
our nation...
Hand in glove, maybe not the best way you'd want to say that, buddy. Yeah. Miller's head is so bald it's reflective because he's afraid we'll turn the space lasers on him. Oh, I wish.
Reduction in murders in American history.
God, this fucking sycophantic little fuck.
Well, first and most importantly, thank you to President Trump, whose vision and courage and determination has achieved something that if you had predicted it,
just fucking brushing his teeth
ago,
with it this
people would have
point,
said
dude.
It was impossible. If you had said 15 months ago that we would achieve the lowest national murder rate, not in 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20.
Because it's been trending down for decades now, that's not surprising. It had nothing to do. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. Why the fuck are we watching these inhuman wastes of oxygen jerk each other off in public? Because this happened today, and we need to stay aware of these people. Suplex Factory, thank you for following.
20 or 30 or 40, but in the 125 years, nobody would have believed it possible. And President Trump did exactly that, and it is a miracle. Just think about this.
It's dear leadership. Like look at the way specifically Pam Bondi collapsed. It is the most robotic. She could be a fucking Small World animatronic. Like she just like. All my life, North Korea and other dictators and authoritarians have been the subject of massive Western propaganda of look how much they make their leaders be appeased. Look how much their leaders, they'll shoot you in the back of the head if you don't lick their boots when they pass. And now this is the shit that our government has become. Fucking embarrassing. Embarrassing, dude.
Second, under President Trump's leadership, the largest reduction in murders in American history, the largest reduction in violent crime in American history, the largest reduction in drug overdose deaths in American history, the largest reduction in fentanyl in American history, the largest reduction in illegal immigration in American history, and the largest number of criminals arrested, removed, or deported in American history.
Arrested, removed, or deported. So just basically interacted with. What the fuck is removed? If it's not deported, what the fuck is removed? Killed? Like, yeah, that actually wouldn't surprise me with this Himmler fuckhead.
History all done in 1 year. Right? If I would just say this, if we had an honest media in this country, the statistics I just gave you would be 24/7 on the news. Nobody could have ever predicted such an achievement would be possible.
Yeah, because I'm willing to bet it's all fucking bullshit. I'm willing to bet. If the fact that, by the way, one of the statistics was as broad as arrested, removed, or deported, and was just like an umbrella statement for all of those, I'm willing to bet they're either fudging some numbers, skewing the facts, or just outright lying at this point, because they took away all the shit that oversees people lying, and nobody cares anymore.
Is assembling the greatest national security and public safety team in American history, because President Trump believes in merit, in competence, in people who get things done. So you look around the table of who...
He believes in merit and competence. By the way, I'd like to pass it off to public drunk Pete Hegseth and wizard child Kash Patel. Merit, experience, really Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great stuff, dude.
President Trump chose for these jobs. You start with Rob or Gaddy or Pam or Pete, Cash, Todd, Terry, the whole entire team. What President Trump put together has never been rivaled in history. That's how you get things done. He chooses people based on their skill, their competence, their ability, their determination, their dedication, and their loyalty, and you're seeing the results. So I just want to again thank President Trump and of course thank the governor as well.
He only picks the most craven psychopaths. I do wonder. No, I know what it is. I'm willing to bet that it is probably literally like a loyalty pledge, because Trump sees himself as some kind of mafia boss badass. Yeah, Tom, 5227. We've already talked about ICE at the airports. We opened with that. Yeah, he chooses by loyalty. I'm willing to bet he like takes people into a back room and tries to give them some like tough guy talk about how like we understand each other. Like what he thinks a cool guy would sound like making deals.
And said, I want you to help make Memphis safe, although I bet the governor would agree he could never have imagined this safe, this quickly, this many people behind bars. And let's just remember that because of the work that President Trump is doing, not only in Memphis, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the country, ultimately, it will save and is saving tens of thousands of American lives. It is, and I'll use that word again, what President Trump has done on border security and public safety is a national miracle that will be studied not only for generations, but for centuries to come. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, what he's doing right now is a national miracle that will be studied for centuries. Tanking the economy in every which way while alienating. I was doing some reading today for the essay I'm currently working on, which I'm excited to be able to share with people. I'm hoping I can record it, get through it, a good portion of it this weekend, and have it out early next week. And as part of that, I was looking into the kind of, more recent history, the post-World War II era rise and fall of American economic domination. And one of the things that one of the editorials I ended up reading brought up was how Trump pushes away like these economic allies who have been economic allies for 50 plus years. Not only pushes them away, but also allows other cultures, namely China, other Asian production houses, production powerhouses, I should say, to slip in, but also, like, by doing that, it loosens our cultural, like, what could essentially be called cultural soft power, because when we are not interacting with these countries as much, we are not exchanging as much culture, we are not, and we have already year over year been losing global share of the box office, of music sales, of streaming, as K-pop, as South American music gets even bigger in like the American mainstream. American culture is not the global export it used to be, and quite frankly, it is so, there is an additional layer of embarrassing out of touchness in Trump's approach to like media and Hollywood, where he just like seems to envision this like, we're taking it back to the golden age, back to when I was a kid, and then whenever the fuck he was a kid, 1940s or whatever the fuck. 50s, excuse me. It's just it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
So, Cash, see if you can top that.
God damn. Well, we already
I
watched.
don't know. That's a tough one.
Enforcement to
well, but I'd like to say that I appreciate.
Are they? Is it? No. It's just all ping-ponging back and forth to talk about Trump as he takes a photo op in front of other people's fucking work.
Obviously, we're in the hottest country, in the hottest state.
That's the other thing. Trump keeps talking about how we're the hottest, folks, we're the hottest country. Everybody wants to invest. We're so hot. Like, no. That's obviously not the case economically because of tariffs, because of Iran. But then, like I was just saying, it's not the case anymore culturally. Like, why would anybody want to deal with all of the bullshit of Hollywood when Hollywood's getting ready to fucking collapse in on itself between movies, theaters, the streaming market, and then everybody fucking trying to give all of the actual artists' jobs and writers' jobs to AI? Like, we aren't hot in any way, except fucking setting ourselves on fire, both literally and figuratively.
And now the hottest city, thanks to you. So we appreciate your leadership in that endeavor. Also, it takes strong leadership, Mr. President, to do what you do. We thank you for that and have a strong team as well. But I'd like to say that I appreciate how resolute you are in your belief and your attitude. And I think that's a testament to making America first. Also, I want to thank you for delivering freedom. When we talk about crime, a lot of times we talk about normalcy.
Less than lucid, Trump has CEO brain that makes everything good is his and everything and bad everyone else. That's narcissism too. Well, so the thing with Trump's like, I think he's starting to try and lay the blame at Pete Hegseth's feet for Iran, because he floated it earlier today after a very long preamble that actually it was all Pete's idea. He came to me and said that we gotta do this, right, Pete? And it was at a different fucking speech, but yikes, dude. Yeah, Pete Hegseth is not, if that is, which I don't doubt, it's probably true to some extent. But if that becomes the narrative moving forward, that the fucking just god tier bungle in Iran is the fault of one person like Pete Hegseth being just a craven fucking war hawk. Oh.
But people get used to high crime. They don't understand what low crime is. And in this city, unfortunately, it became a normal thing, seeing high crime. But you deliver freedom to the residents here in Memphis as well as the government.
Oh my God. Fucking, like, what a sycophantic piece of shit. You delivered freedom in Memphis, Mr. President.
Memphis kids can ride their bicycle outside, which they never had experienced before. And now what has happened, when you have freedom, Mr. President, you have opportunity. You now have hope, you get independence, and then comes prosperity. And that's what making America great is all about. They can be anything they want to be. It doesn't matter where you start out. You can end up where...
This guy is going to give fucking Lana Rhodes a run for her money. Holy fucking shit, dude. I can't. Yeah, I'm out. I'm all right. I'm good, dude. All right, let's watch the Andrew Callaghan video. Cause yeah, so that's a crazy fucking picture for how a gay catboy lover split the right. I wasn't made privy to this about Andrew Callaghan until after we watched the video. Or I think somebody might have told me actually in the stream when we watched the video he did on Nick Shirley. And I've since looked into these things, and I noticed that Lance and the Surfs have actually been bringing it up a lot more and spreading it around, because I feel like that Nick Shirley interview really gave Andrew Callaghan a chance to escape his reputation, or a chance to escape the allegations around him. So I would like to, additionally, for those who don't already watch the Surfs, kind of echo some of the sentiments here.
For some painful reason, despite everything that's going on in the world, Shia LaBeouf is once again appearing in our timelines, leading me to say, why? Honestly, why? Why are we
And I will
doing
be
this?
right back.
It's just like we don't have the batteries for this. I personally don't have the bandwidth. Do you?
I'm at White Oak, the gun club. I mean One Oak. That's a dumb club. I don't go there.
Now, where most people would see someone who's been arrested multiple times, in and out of rehab, a history of physical violence towards the public, and a history of mental health issues, as someone who's probably not in the best state, especially if they're freshly released out of jail, to be giving a widely publicized interview.
These things that are just kind of things that don't really fucking matter, just kind of these floating things that are kind of, who gives a fuck about all this shit, you know what I mean?
I guess it only matters if you care about it.
In fact, most people would say that's dangerously exploitative and ethically wrong.
So it really was like a luck of the draw thing, or just talent randomly.
No, I won the lottery. What the fuck is talent, Andrew? I won the lottery, fool. I completely won the lottery. Dude, I won the lottery. I won a scratch off.
Not Andrew Callaghan. You see, this gonzo journalist is a modern-day Hunter S. Thompson, except for the fact that he's been accused by multiple women of
Famed YouTuber Andrew Callaghan is accused of sexually assaulting multiple women who came forward with their stories on TikTok.
You ever feel like you've gone too far down the rabbit hole, man?
This is only the beginning.
What's the end?
There is no end.
What the fuck happened to Shia? Shia has been on a downward trend for fucking years. I mean, Shia LaBeouf has always kind of been a fucking shithead. Like, he's been accused of being a narcissistic asshole all the way back when, but I think he was a young actor whose brain fucking broke due to fame. Brad Palumbo's trying to glaze Trump in the soy pill stream. What's soy pill? Brad Palumbo. Why do I know Brad Palumbo? Oh, that's one of those dipshits. What's soy pill stream? Have you heard the news that Jehovah's Witnesses are now allowed blood transfusions, but only if it's their own blood? Wait, what? Hey, what? Hey, so does that just mean like what? I'm coming to weigh in. You're coming to weigh in on the blood transfusion, Jehovah's Witness business?
Oh yeah. Because yeah, you can do that now.
Would you chief me up a sleeve?
Chief you up a sleeve.
Chief me up a sleeve. Celestial Heart, Jesus fucking Christ, the last time I saw him, he was being trolled by 4chan over some flag. Now he looks like he's been living in a meth trailer. I think he's just... Yeah, I mean, like, he's been picking... He was drunkenly... He got arrested, like, what, twice a couple weeks ago? For picking fights with black people and calling them slurs down in Nolens. Down in Nolens. Pretty sure it was New Orleans. And, like, good. Get that ass beat, dude. What? Oh. Over by the window. Wait. Whoa. Whoa. Whip-em. 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 Okay. My volume is super low. My volume shouldn't be super low at all. My volume is peaking. All right, how about now? That's as high as it's getting. Nehemia, thank you very much for $5. Orthodox rabbis are debating whether AI is blasphemous too. Small rays of hopes. I mean, I don't know. I feel fucking that Orthodox rabbis, there was just the issue of the Orthodox rabbi giving a kid HPV because of the fucking... Look, dog, there's a lot of stuff I will defend if you want to have a fucking religious practice where you dip yourself in peanut butter and, you know, put on pajamas that make you look like a cat, I don't care. Like if that ties into your religion and your beliefs about the world, God bless you. What are you doing, lady? But that's the one had to turn down when you okay, I turned it down a little bit. That is the one, well, not the one, but that is one of the many slightly more mainstream, and I mean mainstream enough that it's in like the public eye, right? The fucking the circumcision thing that, like, y'all knock that shit off. El Salve, thank you very much for $2. Toxic masculinity ends, the era of femboys begins. It already been beginning. Wait, what happened? There was another incident fairly recently. Either it was recent or it's circulating again. Because again, you have to be fucking careful on websites and stuff to make sure that you aren't falling for just open Nazi propaganda. But this is something I've seen before, where it is at a bris, which is I believe, and feel free to correct me, anybody who's out there who knows better, is a Jewish circumcision ritual. It is tradition for after the wound is made to basically for the rabbi to suck some of the blood out, which is like it churns my stomach thinking about it right now. Like it actually fucking makes me like violently angry in a way. I think that should be fucking legitimately. I think it should be outlawed. Again, I will advocate. I don't have to believe in a religion for people. Like, if you want to be a Satanist, you want to be like whatever, I'm fine with it. That type of shit, you gotta fucking, that shit should be illegal, honestly. There is nothing about it, I think, that could be defended under tradition or as like there's just no value to it. It's I hate it. Okay, Nehemiah. So, not defending that, there is evidence that saliva does act as an antibacterial, which is where the practice comes from. Okay. What was I? Where were we? Oh, Refinery, Texas. Whoa. Valero Refinery in Port Arthur.
I think they're trying to do is isolate whatever it is that erupted or exploded from the rest of the system, allow the fire to burn itself out, cool down other exposures of other parts of the unit there so that you don't have any other catastrophic failures like the heat melting metal and causing a collapse of a vessel that may increase the fire and all of that. I know I'm kind of getting a little technical, but that's what they look at, is to try to keep things on.
Jeez.
Well, John Beer, we appreciate you for your insight and for your information. Please stay safe, and we'll definitely touch base with you later on then. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, Patrick standing by now.
That's fucking wild. Port Arthur Refinery. Multiple people, loud boom that rattled their homes. The refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. That's got to be a scary time to believe in, like, multinational conspiracy theories. I'm willing to bet it's probably a not connected issue to everything else going on. Like, I don't think, like, oh, we're under attack, but That's still fucking sucks. That sucks for sure for the internet. All right, let's go tune into a
Executive
debate
will
real
still
quick.
continue to fill the gap that they're leaving.
I hear you. I think that there's for sure a broader abdication than just what's entailed by the filibuster here, and that relates to all manner of different policies or different levers.
Okay, chat. Look, we got to have a talk about optics in the big 226, right? And I know this is the thing, nobody likes talking about optics, right? Optics killed my grandma. Nobody wants to think about like, oh, does this make me look bad? Does this make me look cool? Does this make me look based? Am I too privileged for this? You gotta cut that little voice out of your head and just realize that, like, if you consider yourself a progressive or on the left broadly, the first thing you need to learn how to do is read the room. Read the room. So, for example, this is a room you can literally read because it's nothing but campaign posters for fucking losers. Campaign posters for Biden and Harris. A campaign poster for Harris and Walz. Adam Schiff. And then this performative fucking, in this house we believe, like, boys will be boys, but boys is crossed out. Held accountable for their actions. Wow. Look, the dorks on the internet, particularly those more attuned to the alt-right, the more radical spaces, nothing's going to stop them from regurgitating boring, unfunny, old jokes. We know this from the one joke, the attack helicopter joke. However, that doesn't mean you need to go out of your way to give them more excuses to just look at a picture of this and literally call you a soy boy. To look at a picture of this and be like, oh my gosh, you're so stunning and brave. Like, I'm saying we can do better. I'm saying we can do better than propeller hat and Pickle Rick in the background. That's all I'm saying.
I think most prominently right now in the context of the Iran
War
war, it's
powers,
the war
yeah.
power. Yeah.
I'm really important is an annoying lib dork. I have never heard of. I've seen Brad Palumbo do some stuff. The soy pill Hutch is on family leave. I don't fuck with Hutch. I don't know. I'm really important as a horrible name, dude. And Pisco. Like, honestly, that name does kind of piss me off because it's not fun. It's not campy. Like, it doesn't come across as like playing up a character. It doesn't come across as like being in on some kind of joke like some other usernames and stuff can be. You're just saying I'm really important. Like, I don't know. That I think is a lame name. Whatever.
100%. And here, I mean, there's just no question that this is a war as initially understood. I mean, it's armed conflict with another country. It's, we're talking about boots on the ground, etc. And Congress has just like, what they're wanting to do is maybe implicitly we'll have this vote on the supplemental package using our appropriation power, different power than the war.
Yeah, like, cool. All right, my side won in the end of this policy. I think is horrible, but I still don't think it's okay. And I haven't seen meaningful analysis to say, oh, definitely this will be better for Democrats. It might be. I just don't think this is justification to say, like, oh, yes, maybe a bunch of people will be hurt by this. However, it might restore some sort of integrity in the elections or faith that people don't have that I don't think would exist regardless, no matter how many laws you pass, if Trump is the
I guess I'm
head of
not.
the-
That's why I'm not telling you that I'm hanging my hat on. I love the SAVE Act. It must pass.
Brad Palumbo's eyes freak me out. You need more natural lighting. Like, it is, you're so, I feel, overlit that it makes you look like all right, You know when a PlayStation, like a character model, it doesn't have baked lighting yet? That's what he looks like to me. Right? Chat, back me up here. Come on now. Shanda Boa, thank you very much for subscribing.
Elon Musk, save democracy. It all dies without the SAVE Act. I'm just telling you, at the end of the day,
It's not apocalyptic. You're not saying it's
not.
apocalyptic. No,
It's not going to change.
I agree.
So much.
I agree. It's not apocalyptic. I just want to say I'm not on board with federal ID until we have a mandatory national ID. And Democrats should, in my opinion, package it, withhold it until we get a more comprehensive reform of voting. I have no intention of giving Trump a legislative win, even if I agreed with the SAVE Act in this context.
Well, sure. That's a whole other question.
All right. Well, we've talked with most about the topics. If there's any other news, we could get it out now. But I think IRI has been itching. I can see he's shaking. His eyebrows are twitching.
Wait, can we just say, wait.
Yeah.
It'll take 2 seconds. Brad, do you fuck with the war?
Like in Iran?
There's no way he
Yeah.
supports it.
No?
All right, sick. All right, fuck the war. I just gotta get that out.
I mean, I do have sympathy for. I know some people who are Iranian expatriates and immigrants and Iranian Americans, and like,
Yeah, I don't fuck with this Brad Palumbo dude. I want to go back to Andrew Callaghan. Really quick, whiplash time. This video discusses allegations, evidence, and public statements involving Callaghan. The information presented is based on publicly available sources. The video aims to accurately represent the claims that have been made, as well as any responses or statements issued by Callaghan and or his representatives in order to provide appropriate context. The content is being presented for the purpose of commentary and public interest reporting. It does not constitute a legal determination of guilt or liability. I might screenshot this, not to like copy it word for word, but it's always tough remembering what bases you want to cover when you do a content warning or a legal disclaimer. And this does a really great job of it.
It was bad enough having to stare once again at this disgusting creep's face and wonder why he's treated as anything other than a liability in progressive or left-wing spaces. But then bloated Z-listers like Kevin Sorbo and Lauren Chen stated publicly that Shia LaBeouf admitted to the world that he was sexually molested by men as a child, when he didn't say that at all.
I'll be honest with you, big gay people are scary to me.
What do you mean?
When I'm like standing by myself and 3 gay dudes are next to me touching my leg, I get scared. I'm sorry. If that's homophobic, then I'm that.
Yeah.
Shia seemed like he could have been so much more, dude. Like he seemed at some point that he could have been a really good, talented actor, that he could have been like that he was going in a more artsy, artistic direction with his life. And it really sucks that he's been reduced to just ignorant white trash. Like, honestly. Like, it's just this, like, I just believe what I believe, and if I'm racist, then so be it. And it's like, yeah, you are. Like, maybe work on fixing yourself a little bit. I don't know.
Does that happen a lot?
No, it just happened one time.
Recently?
Well, that's why I got arrested.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. So 3 gay men apparently were touching his leg, and that made him homophobic. That's crazy. How does this only have 5,000 views, dog? Ooh, can't stand. You
So you were sort of being groped and surrounded.
So fucking weird to make up something like that when the video was there for anyone to see. It's especially fucked considering Shia LaBeouf has stated emphatically in the past that he was raped by a woman. And not only did the right not believe him, but he was openly mocked for it. And did the terpene furry Lorax of QAnon that follows you home, but it's cute because he wears ill-fitting suits, ask Shia about his own history of physical abuse?
In him speeding down the motorway and saying that if I left him, or if I said that I didn't love him and if I was going to leave him, that he would smash the car into the side of a wall. And I thought, wow, like he needs so much control over me that he would rather kill us both. And eventually he pulled over into a gas station and I tried to unload my bags from the car. There were 3 men opposite the car, and I remember thinking, this is it. I was like, this is it, I'm done, like I can't do this anymore. And he picked me up and he threw me against the car and started strangling me. And that's when I realized I need to get help to get out of this relationship.
How she claimed that he forcibly gave her an STD without her knowledge? No, of course not. Andrew isn't here to make Shia feel uncomfortable. He's here to exploit a train wreck of a human at his absolute worst, who he knows.
Oh, sounds a little bit like what people have been. You know what? That actually, in a weird way, I wouldn't be surprised if Shia has gone through similar mental issues as Kanye. That actually would make a little bit more sense to me. Because he does seem often very manic. He seems like somebody who needs therapy, dude.
Was one of the biggest enemies of the online alt-right movement. So who is this goofy-looking Timu Sideshow Bob pretending to be awkward while...
Look, as somebody who loves to insult based on appearance, and I know I shouldn't. Look, I get it. There are things that I shouldn't like as much as I do. Chief among them, insulting people and eating donuts, but I'm good at it. What can I say? I'm good at it. And as somebody who once riffed on Glenn Beck for like a solid 2 minutes in a video, who has had no shortage of incendiary insults for people like Asmongold, Trump, Matt Walsh, Alex Jones, plenty of others. I do got to say, respect game a little bit. Because I can tell the genuine seething. Like this comes from a place of real hate. And I respect that.
Sweating like a rapist. Well, I'm sad to say someone I was a big fan of. I'm admitting that right out of the gates, because if you're watching this channel for the first time, you might think that I'm just a hater. Someone who's just deeply jealous of Andrew's success. But there was a time when I was rooting for it, where I was actively promoting it. When he broke into the mainstream through HBO, I thought he was a generational talent that was going to redefine journalism for an entirely new generation. So let me give the man his flowers so that everyone can understand this has nothing to do with me trying to do cancellation. I don't even believe they exist for rich, white, powerful men, especially not famous ones. And Andrew is indeed one of the most famous documentarians on YouTube. His rise and genuine transformation of the medium can best be explained by his breakout series name itself. All gas, no brakes. Picture an awkward but lovable loser traveling to some of the most extreme and obscure corners of the United States.
It is your boy Kid Chocolate. You should know it's official. Go follow me on Instagram. Official Kid Chocolate 1K, all in one.
Why do they call you Kid Chocolate?
Because I fuck with none with black babies.
Flat Earth rallies, furry conventions.
Surprise, motherfucker. Free TK, free Palestine. You ain't this shit, TK. What's a few lies and you got bars?
Anywhere that had a...
I wish... One of the things that really does suck about the kind of position I'm in right now is that I really wish I could do more on-the-ground reporting. I don't know. I need to dig into like upcoming events and things. I need to be more active and try and find those opportunities out there. Because I love interviewing people. I love going places. I love capturing that story and being able to you know, give people the perspective of being on the ground or being in those places in that moment. And I get like a little itchy for it again sometimes. Like I'm like, I just want to go out. And so at some point this year, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. Look, there's gonna be plenty of opportunities. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Cuba convoy because give me 1 second. Yeah, it's just I need to get to a point once I get past the next couple months, because I think I'm gonna be good on taxes. Then I need to work down my debt, and then once that's done, I'm gonna be looking to go boots on the ground. I wish so bad I could have gone to Cuba. I think my number one priority right now is going to be lady, stop it. Go away. No, take it away. Go away. Go. Scram. Scram, use. There, go away. Yeah, taxes, right. Well, and I figure I don't need to give anybody any other. I am looking to get in trouble and be labeled a dissident or some shit. But if all goes well, I should be good to go by summer. Continuing at the kind of output and level I have been. Nehemia, thank you very much for $10. Just to clarify, using the mouth for Metziza is extremely rare and out of fashion. Basically, the ones who do it are ultra-Orthodox Haredim, the same ones that support Bibi. That tracks. That makes sense. Pudek, there's probably a No King's Day something here in Spokane on the 28th. Is today really the 23rd? Damn. Okay. Damn. All right, I do want to get through more of this stuff. I don't want to leave this video unfinished.
Outrageous attendees, AGNB was there. While the subject matter did a lot of the heavy lifting, credit has to go to Andrew's unique persona of a dorky, out-of-place, lovable nerd that contrasted perfectly with the extreme nature of the subject matter.
Anything not a terp? No. Anything can be a terp. Anything. You know, butane, you know, it's all, a little terp skirt, terp this, terp that, sideways, terp all of that, little, all elevation, it's all terp nation,
All gas, no brakes. The ethos, both of how fearless Andrew would be in his coverage and how wild the series would become.
I don't know. I also feel like there's only so much stuff you can do, like, as far as this kind of journalism, there's only so much you can do that I think isn't just content slop. That isn't just like, oh, you're going to a place, we're going to go talk to furries. And that has its own value, but I think it's far more passive than going to this protest, being boots on the ground in front of ICE agents, showing what it's actually like for hours and hours and hours on end, right? To give that experience, to be able to convey it and portray it to other people who aren't able to be there. Yeah, that's very... There's a reason why the right loves this site. Yeah, I guess so. Here's the other thing. I think there's also a level of been there, done that with that furries aren't a fucking fixation anymore. It's not a thing that people are like, oh, these people dress up as animals. Like that was a fucking gag when I was in middle school. Like, oh, how crazy is that? It's 20 years old, dog. Like, nobody cares that much. And I think, like, I don't know, people are running out of shit to be surprised by, because even the New York Times, or New York Post, sorry, had I laughed out loud when I saw it. They had a headline that was like, "What's hentai? Learn more about the obscure pornography that's sweeping the net," or something. And I'm like, what is it, 2002? Like, yeah, it's called hentai, and some people are getting real excited about it. Like, they're gonna fucking cut to a nightly news. It's called hentai, and children just can't get enough of the stuff. Like, what the fuck? The only people still surprised by things are people who haven't been paying attention, or boomers who haven't been paying attention. The idea of going and finding these niche communities, they really don't exist anymore unless they are very specifically trying to stay out of the spotlight.
Soon, episodes on Area 51 and furries became some of the most viral videos of the year. If you weren't tapped in around 2019, this gonzo style of journalism had the chaos of Hunter S. Thompson's participatory nature set in an entirely different universe. It wasn't long before All Gas No Breaks was one of the fastest growing documentary channels on YouTube. During COVID, the channel exploded, with Andrew covering Trump rallies, QAnon conventions, and anti-lockdown protests. As the subject matter became more political, Andrew also deserves credit for bringing an important perspective on Trump's first term through his particular style of reporting. As hilarious as it was, a lot of it can absolutely be called journalism in the purest sense.
Make me look like a jackass. I'm gonna come for you.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna probably beat the shit out of you. Never fuck with me.
Despite showing empathy for whatever group he was interviewing, Andrew was becoming one of the biggest voices in left-wing media, exposing the absurdity of the far-right movement and conspiracies simply by holding up a mirror to them.
Doesn't put forward the truth about the president and what he's been able to accomplish for the country.
See, and that's the thing, is that I would Jesse Waters, but for libs. I like, well, yeah, Waters World for libs for sure. The Jesse Waters as himself now has been just preaching from the propaganda pulpit. I don't think he's done like a on the ground, on the street piece in a while. Yeah, also Enrique Tarrio being like, "Don't fuck with me." Ooh. Ooh.
So who do you work for now?
Senior advisor for the President of the United States.
You are?
Yes, I am.
It wasn't just memes or Terp life. It was genuinely groundbreaking journalism, directly exposing the most extreme elements of the QAnon and MAGA conspiracy movement for the world to see. In 2021, Andrew took the leap of breaking from his partners at Doing Things Media.
Is this a fucking, this is a chiptune Evanescence Bring Me to Life cover? This shit whips. Ooh, I like that. That goes hard.
To launch his very own show.
So know that we parted ways with Doing Things after a bitter contractual dispute in 2020, which effectively pumped the brakes on the gas. But since then, I'm happy to say that we have squashed the beef.
Channel 5 with Andrew Callaghan. And his audience went with him. Channel 5 was an even bigger success than All Gas No Breaks, culminating in collaborations with the biggest names on the left and an eventual 2022 HBO documentary entitled This Place Rules.
It was true that everyday people on the right were being censored and kicked off social media.
98% of the media have a leftist agenda to bring in communism and a one world.
I mean, like, that's the other fucking part that I miss. I really do. Because, well, there was some stuff I kept out of the DC documentary. When I was in DC and I was going to I was supposed to go to the inauguration until everything got fucked up. When I was in DC last year, was that last year? God, 2 years ago now. Fuck. Was it? No, it was last year. God damn. When I was in DC last year for the inauguration, there were moments that I didn't put on camera, or that I had on camera, but I didn't put in the video because I talked to somebody who was drunk and they weren't quite all there, or like, stuff like that. But I do miss talking to people and catching people on camera. And it really fucking,
Government.
It only just
Can we get
pushed them
captions?
to
You
all
got it.
platforms.
which explained the rise of conspiracy culture, the road to Jan 6, and debunked extremist media ecosystems. The movie was a breakout success and catapulted Andrew Callaghan to the mainstream. He was literally on top of the world, a feeling Shia LaBeouf knows all too well. See, in another world, this setup has all the pieces for a classic Andrew Callaghan bit. Shia can come on and say a bunch of zany and outrageous things. Andrew is just an awkward friend hanging out with him, and through the bit he can hold up Shia for the world to laugh at.
I'm no longer no Shia LaBeouf celebrity, hold on to this thing, worry about the next job, none of that. I just go out and I go listen to music. Feels good right now, and I'm not hurting nobody. There's 2-3 people I hurt, I'm gonna deal with that.
Isn't it weird how this washed up celebrity who used to be the biggest public enemy of the far right and the darling child of Hollywood liberalism is suddenly saying all these bizarre and homophobic things?
I never had no problem with gay people, never. I remember paying for people's transition surgery when I was fucking around on the internet heavy. I've never been an adversary.
God, he sounds so fucked up. Like, he just sounds like he's been hanging out in rough places. Like, just the way he speaks, there's I don't know. How do I even put it? If you know it, you know it. Like, if you've kind of been there, you know it. Let me put it like that. There's a lot of people out there who can just hear him be like, "Oh, damn, dude, you've been through it. I see how it is."
Towards it, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I'm open to whatever. If somebody's got more information on the subject, then, let me know. I know I'm fucking deep off into the Bible. I know what the Bible says.
About
homosexuality.
What does it say?
Nah.
Except in the bizarre nexus that was this moment in history, the mirror that was once so effective that Andrew would hold up to the far right was now shining light upon himself. Because in many ways, Andrew was a prototype of a different kind of fallen celebrity, rising to the ranks of internet stardom only to have it all crash down at the zenith of his popularity. In January of 2023, while his HBO special was becoming a smashing success, Andrew Callaghan began being confronted by a series of allegations.
And claimed he needed a place to stay and refused to leave her home, all before she was sexually assaulted.
First, Caroline Elise went public with a TikTok video describing a history of abuse at the hands of Callaghan, including unwanted sexual encounters when he would not take no for an answer. Quote, "I told him no. I told him I wasn't interested. He eventually got my consent because he wore me down." She provided receipts to back up her story and said Andrew told her she was trying to, quote, ruin his life.
A lot of people don't believe me. I've got receipts, I've got photos of us, I've got text messages, but you shouldn't need that. You should believe me and you should stop supporting Andrew Callaghan.
Then more women came forward. Dana, aka Moldy Freckle, posted a story where he physically and sexually assaulted her while she was driving him home.
He proceeded to put his hand down my pants. I told him to stop. I told him to get off of me multiple times.
This led to older accusations that were made towards Andrew Callaghan resurfacing as far back as 2020 and 2021 that were never taken seriously at the time.
This is a message I got about a year ago from someone who said that he has been known to associate with underage girls. This is the story from the same person of her experience. You can pause to read any of this stuff. This is about how he was canceled on his French Quarter confession show when he went to Loyola because of the same sorts of allegations. You can pause to read that. Just another story. He's got a list of women who he gets to give him head. Another instance of sexual assault. And I'm keeping these people private, and they've all consented to me sharing their stories. And I'm doing so because I've already put my face out there. I'm already getting all the hate. It is what it is at this point.
I want to say that we believe these women that came forward and of course, totally condemn the type of behavior that Andrew's being accused of.
Which might explain why today people are quick to dismiss the totality of his accusations as one of he said, she said. They were accusations where clearly boundaries weren't properly established, and the rest is just internet rumors. He apologized and got help, and that's restorative justice.
God, first off, why is Andrew Callahan's face so fucked up? Second off, Mumsies, thank you for following, and Nehemiah, thank you for another 5. One last thing, it's not rabbis who perform the bris, the moil does that and is, at least today, always a medical practitioner. Is there a moil for, no, they're like not for non-Jewish circumcisions. No, they just do that when the baby's born. God, what a weird fucking thing.
Is this right? On February 28, 2023, an article came out in The Stranger that contains first-hand testimony of 2 women who would accuse Andrew Callaghan of a variety of sex crimes. The first identified only as Mary and said she met Callaghan.
So this is on Jesus Christ. Oh. The moil is just for Jews. I feel like it would be weird to have an evangelical like, hello, I'm the Catholic moil. Like, I don't know, what's a Benjamin O'Brien. I couldn't think of another Jewish name and another Catholic name. What was I? Okay. Rough. Oh, okay. I will confirm to pick up. Would you... Sorry, I was just saying goodbye to Kat. Accused documentary filmmaker Andrew Callaghan of raping and sexually assaulting them in 2017 when they all attended university in New Orleans. Raped her. Ugh. He mocked how she repeatedly said no during their encounter. A different woman, who we'll call Emma, said he followed her back to her dorm where he grabbed her and then started having sex. These allegations come after the Stranger reported on multiple women accusing Callaghan, who was raised in Seattle, of coercing them into sexual acts over their objections. Mary said reading that article motivated her to share her story. A legal representative answers specific questions about each alleged incident, as well as basic questions about the story. They responded, the allegations irresponsibly reported from 2 anonymous sources are false. A fictitious story like this without credible evidence while allowing the accusers to remain anonymous. Andrew has taken accountability for his role in other situations, will be first to admit his shortcomings. That's not a fucking shortcoming. God. I guess I didn't fucking realize how big this Andrew Callaghan dude was. I kind of thought he was like far more indie journalist. Sorry. Sorry. YouTube channel said he wanted to apologize for my silence. Added he didn't really. That's a fucking insane thing to say. Didn't realize I had this pattern that it affected multiple people. Though he felt, quote, persistent was a form of flattery. Struggling against this. God damn, it's fucking horrible. Horrible piece of shit.
And as a freshman at La Loyola University. They met at a bar where he began to give her 4 or 5 shots in rapid succession until she was intoxicated, and then has no recollection how, but wound up in bed with Andrew with, quote, feeling vaginal pain. She stated, quote, no, you were crying. No, 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 please stop. But he kept laughing. He didn't understand that telling me that I was crying no to him was an admission of rape. He was joking and laughing about it to my face the morning after. A therapist she was seeing at the time would corroborate her story. She also provided receipts that she had sent messages to friends confirming that at the time, she had told them that Andrew Callaghan had raped her. She was also in communication with another one of the survivors named Emma, and provided text messages to the publication. Emma claims that Andrew followed her home, refused to leave when she asked him to, and then once inside the house, proceeded to violently rape her. She had a back injury, which she provided MRI proof of with dates to the publication, and told Andrew that she was crying and yelling and was in such pain that it felt like he was, quote, tearing a muscle. Despite crying and yelling no multiple times, Andrew ignored her until he was finished, then got dressed and left. Despite the fact that this article is still up and available for anyone who wants to read it, most people today have no idea how bad the accusations against Andrew Callaghan are. And this didn't happen decades ago. Some of the text exchanges about him raping the survivors were being sent in 2020. The TikTok videos didn't come out until 2023. What's worse is that today Andrew is credited in some circles as having performed restorative justice, that he took accountability for what he did and worked to repair the damage, but that's not what happened at all. Restorative justice seeks to take power back from those who wield it unjustly and empower those who have been wronged, aka the victims or survivors. They get to dictate the terms, and that begins first and foremost with the perpetrator taking full responsibility.
I really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. But, you know, I think I want to have a more nuanced and important conversation about power dynamics, pressure, and coercion.
I've always taken no as an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. Well, that's just a lie. So, okay.
Then working on a reparative plan such as restitution, community service, and counseling. The purpose isn't to get your career back as quickly as possible or win back in the court of public opinion. It's to right the...
Which is what he really did with the fucking, God, what was that shithead's name? Nick Shirley video. The 007 satellite dish is gone? What do you mean?
The wrong you did to the individual and to the community. Not only did Andrew Callaghan not apologize directly to any of the women who said that he stalked or raped them, he didn't even directly acknowledge what he had done. Instead, his legal team moved aggressively on January 12, 2023 to release statements to Variety and TMZ that the survivors were motivated by money. Quote, "While every dynamic is open to interpretation, repeated requests for money should not be part of these conversations." The accusations and threads started getting deleted off of Reddit. And suddenly all the focus became on Andrew's complete mental breakdown and the possible self-harm at the sheer shock and weight of the totality of the ordeal.
I was, just riding the high from my movie that just came out, and then within 48 hours, I was denounced by my closest collaborators, and my name was printed in 40 different news outlets next to the words sexual misconduct, and I just kind of spiraled into a mental health crisis.
Good.
I'm okay now.
The intense...
Oh, you're okay now. God, fucking... That fucking sucks, dude.
This backlash caused Moldy Freckles to have to privatize her social media permanently. Other accusers left social media entirely due to the backlash and effects the hate had on their mental health. The forum posts and threads containing the anonymous accusations were deleted.
I will not be reaching out to you for an apology because I already tried that, and this is where we are now.
The majority of the accusers have been silenced. Andrew would blame what little he admitted to on substance abuse and stated that he was having a severe mental collapse and that he was immediately checking himself into rehab and therapy, and then disappeared for 6 months.
Typically, Native Americans wear headdresses where they have to earn all the feathers. This is not something that I was given by a Native American tribe or anything like that, but I do certainly believe over the course of my 10-year shamanic journey, I've earned my feathers.
Which leads me...
Christ, Jacob. For those who don't know, Jacob Chansley is the Q shaman and is just one of the dumbest motherfuckers you've ever, like... Strangely, doesn't follow Trump anymore though. Went against Trump. That was the Q shaman.
What are we doing here? No, seriously, what the fuck are we doing here? We're living through an age where for the first time a substantial amount of evidence about a billionaire pedophile network that was trafficking children and abusing women internationally has been exposed for the world to see, and the question that keeps getting asked over and time again, why didn't anyone say anything? Why didn't anyone do anything? How did this go unnoticed or unchallenged for so long despite the fact that there was so many people involved at every single level? Which is really fucked up because women were saying something. They were ignored, or silenced, or discounted, or in some cases potentially even killed. Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of solicitation of prostitution with a minor in 2007, which means that every single person who was doing business with him, hanging out with him, or even going on dinosaur bone hunting expeditions with him, knew full well the entire time that he was a pedophile. With R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein, how many women had to come forward before people started believing them? While his mainstream success got derailed by the scandals, his online presence only expanded. The paltry 100,000 subscribers he lost during the height of the scandal was nothing compared to the millions he gained afterwards. He's now interviewing some of the biggest politicians in the United States, some of whom are presidential hopefuls. Cancellation, in the framing that most people online
putting
think the
Pete
word
Buttigieg
means,
on the
doesn't
words
exist,
presidential
and it
hopeful
especially
is
doesn't
a real
exist for
fucking
rich,
bummer.
powerful white men. And sure, there are some corners of the political aisle that are completely fine with pedophiles.
I don't want
and
Pete
abusers. Donald Trump is
Buttigieg.
the president of the United States, and he appears in the Epstein files over 1 million times. But who gives a fuck if the grossest people imaginable have no standards? It makes sense. It's part of what makes them fucking gross.
You gotta make amends. First thing you gotta do is you gotta say what you did. Then you gotta say how it's never gonna happen again. And then you gotta show and prove.
What do you think's the best way to show and prove after something like that?
Be looked up to as some type of idol. That is what has made this time even harder than any other time that I have been assaulted, molested, or abused at some point.
That doesn't mean we have to be. We can choose to be less shitty at any given moment, like even right now. I wrote this script as someone who absolutely loved Andrew Callaghan's content. I watched every single episode of his show, multiple times, especially when I was feeling down. They offered some of the best laughs when the world was really scary during COVID. I put it up there with the Eric Andre Show and Tom Green tier for IRL comedy, while simultaneously being novel by bringing significant journalistic chops to the table. When the first accusations came out, I wasn't rushing to cancel the dude. I was totally taken aback and wanted more information or a response to come out. And then came the next one, and then the next. And by the time the anonymous online stories were resurfacing, I knew something was really fucking wrong. And with charges though serious, one hell of an explanation was warranted. Fans like myself deserved it. We helped prop up his rise. We shared his videos with friends, we watched them on repeat, and the whole time he was abusing his power in the worst ways imaginable. But he never addressed the accusations of forcing himself upon women or shoving his hands down their pants. He never addressed the stalking a woman home or violently raping another.
Because on one hand, I'm not opposed to restitution being part of a private accountability process for real abuse. You know, like if you've hurt someone to an extent that it took them out of work or something, like I think they're entitled to some money. But unfortunately, as I later learned, this person had legal counsel, and this was an attempt to basically create evidence by extracting a confession from me to use as precedent for a civil lawsuit.
Thank you for taking accountability. But just to clarify, you got consent.
Yeah, I was the initiatory party.
Again, thank you for taking accountability. But I just hate how many cowards there are out there. Well, again, thank you for taking accountability. And thank you for the most.
Lex Friedman. I have such little appreciation for these weird hosting fence sitters whose only real purpose seems to be to like facilitate these vacuous displays of egotism and political polarity against one another. Like he was the one, he's had Ben Shapiro and Destiny on to talk about fucking Gaza and shit. It's just empty spectacle that believes in nothing and yet offers like no creative value, nothing really except more of what's already there. I find him so obnoxious, so fucking hollow.
Most part leaning towards accountability. It's the right path to take.
Once the lawyers and the PR team went into overdrive, all the women were silenced, and it wasn't long before the son of the president was appearing on his show. And I gotta ask, how? How, Pete? How are you gonna run for president and tell young women and girls that you take their autonomy and safety seriously when you'll do something like this? How could anyone ever trust you to care for the survivors of sexual abuse, again for the rest of their lives?
For a long time, I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. Okay, well, I honestly don't know what you think is normal about someone begging and pleading for you to stop and to get off of them.
If I'm going to be accused of virtue signaling no matter what I do in this video, then let me signal my virtue. We owe it to the victims of sexual abuse and violence to stop giving a pass to unapologetic serial rapists. In this case, it's as easy as saying, I'm not gonna fuck with this person anymore. And why should I? He doesn't respect his audience or fans or me or you. If you have friends who like him, that doesn't inherently make them bad people, but if one of them sent me one of his videos, I'm gonna tell him, here's why I don't fuck with him.
If we turn the mirror back on Shia, the picture comes completely into focus. Hurt people hurt people. He opened up about some of the most grueling experiences of his life.
Everything I'm saying is nonsense. It's Mardi Gras, you know?
But it sounds like this complex is maybe something that you noticed for a long time.
I mean, maybe, bro. I mean, my dad was raped by his cousin, so he was in my ear all the time. I don't know, maybe I am. Who the fuck knows, bro? I'm open to whatever somebody wants to say.
And is himself the victim of physical and sexual abuse. He never said he was abused by gay men as a child. But even if he did, that doesn't excuse his own history of abuse. And FKA Twigs is still speaking up as a survivor to inspire others to be as brave as she is. There's a shitty system hurting everyone, and we all play a role in it on some level whether we like it or not. Completely erasing multiple victim stories or having them harassed into silence while pretending like nothing happened makes each and every one of us complicit. Andrew Callaghan has to answer for what he's done, and until he does, this will be the last time I ever watch Channel 5 again.
Hell yeah. Great fucking summary of it. Holy shit. Oh, this is actually great. Wow, they had Aaron Reed on to talk about anti-trans bills. I did not realize this.
We are back, and we're...
Aaron does a lot of great work with that. Because, I mean, the only other thing to talk about right now... Yeah, that has only 5,000 views. So if you can, go show some love to Lance over on Twitter. That's where I saw this video first being shared. Twitter, Blue Sky, go share it wherever you can. More people do need to see that shit. Get it out, get it circulating. Because the only other thing really to talk about today, I don't know, we are Kansas. What's happening in Kansas? JDLO55589. Everyone is welcome in America if they come here legally. Well, that's not true. Why are Democrats on the wrong side of every cause, like breaking the law? I mean, first off, the law is not determined if something is correct or not morally. Second off, everyone is welcome in America if they come here legally is not true, because there are legal citizens, people who came here legally, who continue to be assaulted, raped, tortured, abducted, beaten, shot, stabbed, trafficked under ICE. So neither of those things are true. Oh Christ, that's horrible. What was I gonna go to? Oh, is it the Kansas ID law? Okay, because it's just... Oh no, the AI thing. Oh.
We're joined once again by friend of the show, Aaron Reed, journalist tracking anti-LGBTQ plus legislation around the world and in the United States at Aaron in the Morning on Substack. She's been tracking some of these anti-trans measures across the country with her anti-trans national legal risk assessment map. Aaron, thanks so much.
Bravo needs bacon. Thank you for 5 bits. Seriously, can't wait until these anti-trans bills and morons and old boomers who support them finally go the way of the dodo. Yeah, I think we are in a time of great consequence for what will happen in the next years and decades ahead. Because if something is not done quickly and soon and drastically, they will have full control over, or at least enough control exerted over elections. That it's going to be a real problem. And if it goes the way they want, it's going to be rough. But thank you very much.
Much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course. So, let's just talk about that map, that your newsletter, the do not travel advisory list that you have on your site. And I would highly recommend that people subscribe to Aaron in the Morning if they want to follow this really important reporting.
So I wanted to bring, damn it, I just popped my estrogen. So now my words are going to be taking, have a little mush mouth. I brought this up and I shared it on Twitter. If you are trans, you need to get, first off, don't try flying right now. If you can help it, just in general, don't fly. Particularly if you are trans, get your real ID, and that is the federally mandated state ID to travel internationally, and it is one that they made it federally mandated specifically for transphobia, so that you have to say M or F on the document. That's the real ID. Because state IDs can still have other gender markers. Just get it before you travel. Because between what ICE is doing, between the fact that they can now use somebody being trans as a reason for suspicion of some sort, of if they're an illegal immigrant, of if they're hopping the border, whatever. Do not leave home. Do not try and travel without a real ID if you are queer, if you are trans, if you are anything under that umbrella.
You've recently added Kansas to that list, and we can talk about Kansas specifically in just a second, but which states are on that list?
Yeah, so right now, Texas, Florida, and Kansas are the 3 do not travel states. The states that whenever transgender people ask me if it's safe to travel through, I say that you should take extra caution and avoid non-essential travel to those
Real
states.
ID, are those state level? No. So you have to... Here we go. Minimum security standards for state-issued driver's license and ID cards. How do I use it for travel? Yeah, you just go ahead and look it up because they've made it. Do I need a real ID to fly? Yes. I'm willing to bet. Here's the other thing. I'm willing to bet they will also need a quote unquote real ID for voting too. So get it while you can. Like while it's easy, while not everybody, like just have it in your back pocket. Set aside a little money for it. You got to have. Yeah, it's a federal level thing. Every state should have. If a state does not offer you to get a real ID, they are compliant. Like they have their ID already has enough of the information to make it compliant. Yeah, there you go, Sage. A lot of states already have real ID. Check the top right of your ID for a star symbol.
And how do you make that assessment?
Yeah. So starting in 2022, I started mapping out the risk assessment in each state for transgender people because increasingly I was getting messages from parents, from students, from friends asking, hey, is this safe for me to travel to? Can I go to this state safely? And the laws have been changing. You know, every single month a new anti-trans bill passes in a different state, and I was the one keeping track of all of these laws. And so rather than answer each one of these questions individually, I started mapping them. I started saying this state is dark red. This is a state that you might have extra difficulty in bathrooms or whatnot. So the things that make a state do not travel, the very first do not travel state that I added to my map was Florida in the end of 2023, is Florida passed a bathroom ban that was different from most other transgender bathroom bans. Florida's bathroom ban allowed you to be charged with a misdemeanor and put in jail for 6 months. And so that was a significant escalation because a trans person traveling through any other state could use the bathroom, not be in risk of jail time for doing so. But in Florida, somebody who's unaware could find themselves the wrong side of the law. And so then in Texas, we added that one as well, because Texas likewise had a similar bathroom provision, as well as some very concerning things from Attorney General Ken Paxton in Texas, where he was targeting driver's licenses, saying that it was fraud to have driver's licenses that don't match your assigned sex at birth. And then in Kansas, just a couple weeks ago, Kansas passed a bill that immediately revoked all transgender people's driver's licenses in the state, which we saw that made national news, international news even. Yep. But it also created a bathroom bounty hunter system where every member of the public can, if you find a trans person in the bathroom that you think they don't belong in, can sue that trans person for $1,000.
This is a copy paste of the bounty system, by the way, in Texas as well for abortions that we were talking about just a few years ago. The danger of what is happening in Texas with these driver's licenses is can't be overstated. This has also come up in the context of the immigration debate, where you have these psychotic Republicans that want to take away driver's licenses from people if they're undocumented. They're like, this is literally a safety issue. If people need to drive and be behind the wheel, and you need to have people who have licenses and who have gone through some sort of DMV training. And now this is about making trans people sub-citizens in the same way they're trying to make immigrants sub-citizens, but it presents major safety issues for the general public.
It does. And then let's also talk about how in Kansas, for instance, the bill that invalidated transgender people's identification documents, it had no waiting period. The immediate aftermath, the day after the bill passed, every trans person found themselves with revoked licenses. And so all these people, you have to get to the DMV to update your license. How are you going to get there? You can't drive. You got to call a friend. What if you're in a rural area? What if you can't make your way to the DMV? And what's worse is if you travel to that DMV and you drive there and you get caught, they could revoke your license for even longer. They can say for 90 days, you cannot get a license. And so people are struggling in Kansas right now. People are really struggling. I know people that have fled the state because of it.
It's also a major safety issue if you're a trans person that has to present your driver's license in any setting, which is going to be in a lot of settings, because it immediately outs you as a trans person. And that's the goal, is that we're steps away from genital inspection.
How is that legal? Look, there's not a lot. Actually, there is. There's more prescient stuff from the fucking Star Wars prequels every day. But there's few things that are more apt than the line. I think it's at the beginning of fucking Phantom Menace, where they're like, "What? Can you?" The Darth Sidious is doing some evil plan bullshit, and the Neimoidians are like, "Can you do that? Is that legal?" And he's just like, "I'll make it legal." Except he's like, "I will make it illegal." Like that kind of shit. It's like, you can just make shit legal if you have the power to do so. It's like people are asking, how is this legal? Something being legal doesn't mean fair, right? I was reading, I read about half of Michel Foucault's Discipline and Punish, which is a kind of like then contemporary, I think it was late 1800s. In 1975, way off, 100 years off. No, that's because I was writing, I know why, because I was writing today about the death of Ivan Ilyich, and that is late 18. What year did it come out? Please tell me, I want to know. 1886. There we go. Yep. See what I tell you. What I tell you. Anyway, spoiler for the next big video I'm working on. But I was also reading Michel Foucault's Punishment and Discipline, or Discipline and Punish. And one of the things it covers and talks about is the kind of progression of modern justice, or the limitations thereof, in regards to like how and why we moved away from just torturing motherfuckers. Just straight up like it, even in such an incredibly clinical way, the opening of the book is just a stomach churning gallery of medieval horrors. Talking about shit that was in like 1700s. Any days. I do an essay about Foucault once. I used League of Legends and MOBAs as an example of it and got an A out of it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Chomsky debated Foucault on live TV. Some Foucault books are incorrectly dated all the way back to that time. That's why people keep getting confused. They're not even printed right. I didn't know that. Oh yeah, Xenograils. It's fucking like it is, and it's just. What was I talking about in the? Oh yeah, legality is a guide to morality, and so much of it comes back to just realizing the inherent barbarism of a system and having people work overtime to correct it. And we are now at a point where it is sliding back. Like, that's really reading it now and reading through, you know, like what people like how, because one of the more interesting aspects of the book is how, you know, kind of once you decide that not all punishments are going to be just cutting somebody's head off or cutting somebody's arms off, once you decide in some kind of reformative system, then suddenly you have to extrapolate a wider meaning of justice, because you don't just say, okay, this guy's guilty, kill him. You say, okay, this person is guilty of this. How do we define that? How do we find that? How can we try? Like, if you don't just have a king saying this dude's guilty, this dude's not, you have to start creating these systems of like a judge and juries and lawyers and having equal representation so that you can actually have something resembling fairness. The problem is that we have completely separated from that degree. And in fact, we are going backwards to a system of quote unquote justice that is decided by few to protect the few. Right? By one of the last medieval executioners, I would be fascinated to read that. I am low-key, and I've talked about this before, I've always been kind of fascinated by, I think it's just the evangelical in me, but I've always been fascinated by the, like the justice system, or in the, you know, the olden days, so to speak.
That's what it seems like these bathroom bills are designed to gear our society towards. But the license plate thing is, it's about these like completely psychotic puritanical fears that, gosh, you may be attracted particularly to a trans woman and not know that she wasn't assigned female at birth. And if you have a driver's license that tells you, then don't worry, your gay panic can be quelled for just a second. Just shove those feelings down deep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is about outing people. And, you know, you mentioned like the genital inspection thing in Idaho, which I do believe will likely be the next state that gets added to my list if a certain bill passes. A bill.
I think there was one. Oh. No, that's what they just did. Anti-trans indecent exposure law. New law that dangerously expands what counts as indecent exposure to include breasts. A piece of legislation targets trans women, has implications for trans men, infringes on our protected rights. Previously, nudity was illegal in Idaho, but only exposed genitals counted. They specifically say if they show adult male breasts that have been changed to look like female breasts. No, they're just that's just titties, dude. That's just titty meat. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I laugh at it because it's so ridiculous, but at the same time, this is shit that is targeting and actually hurting people. Like, dog. No, the thing in... So recently, anti-trans bill tracker. So that I am sure will actually be used to weaponize against trans people. Amends law, latest action, January 2020, civil rights passed. Ugh. Failed. I want to sort by last action date. Failed. Passed. Prohibit certain materials from being promoted, made available to a minor. This is right fucking next door to me, by the way. I live only an hour away from Idaho. Rise Again, 845, thank you for $5. Super interesting read. The Faithful Executioner, Window into the Justice System in Germany. And ooh, that sounds fucking rad as hell. I just bought a, because like I said, I've been reading The Death of Ivan Ilyich. Spoiler for the next big video. And it has me on a bit of a Tolstoy kick, because I don't know if I haven't decided if I'm going to go with Anna Karenina or War and Peace, because I started War and Peace years ago. And hey, would you believe it? I put down War and fucking Peace. But it wasn't because I didn't like it. In fact, I was enjoying it. I just had just finished Crime and Punishment, which is also a fucking tome. And I was like, I gotta take a break from these Russian motherfuckers. I swear to God. Anyway, give me 1 second. What was that book called? Rise Again. There you go. A Faithful Executioner. But what I was actually looking for was that'll work. Sorry. I just bought a copy of one of the journals of Leo Tolstoy, because he kept like daily journals for several years. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. State findings of the legislature recognizes Mother's Day as Traditional Family Values Month to raise awareness about the challenges facing traditional... Christ. Past February 2024. All right, so that's 20. This is all 2024. Why? Here we go. To consider bill. Repeat offenders could face felony conviction with up to 5 years in prison. Now, here's the thing. They want to, I'm willing to bet, make that some kind of sex crime. Here we go. Idaho governor signs bill allowing death penalty for child sex offenders. What is the number one thing people say like this about trans people with literally no evidence or proof? It's, again, expanding definitions of things so that you can then use those redefined spaces to target outgroups. It's not fucking slick. Everybody else is onto it. Repeat offenders could face felony conviction. Idaho Senate is one of the last stops for a bill that would criminalize willfully entering public bathrooms and changing rooms designated for another sex. The bill would effectively block trans people from using their preferred... Like, of all the things to give a shit about right now, you're in Idaho, I would be so fucking pissed that your tax dollars are being used to start a war that is making everything more expensive, as all the money from government contracts is being funneled into a GDP-killing cult out of Silicon fucking Valley for the sake of AI, as we sous vide the planet. And this is the shit that your elected representatives. And I like Idaho, I live right next to you. I know your kids aren't pushing up the fucking rankings of education. Idaho, 47th. Ranking public school rankings by state. Why is Idaho? That's not where fucking Idaho is. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, I wonder why. You know what? I wonder why they spend so much time doing this shit for their dumbass audience. Bill 752 would create criminal misdemeanor and felony charges for people who knowingly, willfully, whatever. Bill would apply in government-owned and places of private accommodation. A first offense would carry a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in prison. Second offense, within 5 years, would be a felony. Going into a fucking bathroom. Will take away your rights to vote, to be represented, to make your voice heard. Again, not a fucking... Not an accident. Bill's sponsor, Senator Ted Ben Toes, told senators in a Monday committee hearing that the bill protects common sense realities. The legislature has a fundamental duty to protect the bodily privacy and safety of Idaho citizens, Toes said. House Bill 752 provides a clear, proactive tool to secure sex-separated private spaces in our state while accommodating common sense realities. Fuck you, Mr. Toes. House widely passed the bill. Can I get a fucking video of this shit or what? House Bill 752. Idaho Public Family.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, my name is Joel Fisher, and I serve as Policy Director for Idaho Family Policy Center. We support House Bill 752, and we thank Representative Razor for bringing this bill forward. Protecting the privacy and safety of Idahoans in restrooms and changing areas is an important government objective, and it is of particular importance when it comes to protecting women and children. No parent should fear that their young daughters will encounter a member of the opposite sex while using a department store bathroom or changing facility. There have been many notable incidents of men assaulting women and girls in public restrooms and changing facilities across the country. Here in Idaho, in Ammon, a biological male entered a woman's fitting room in a Target and filmed a teenage girl while she was undressing. Our wives and daughters deserve to be protected from such attacks. We find House Bill 7.
Why do they always got that fucking, that homeschool haircut, you know? Did you ever meet somebody as a kid at like a park or some shit, and they'd be like, I'm homeschooled, and you can be like, yeah, dog, I can tell. Like you got crayon schmutz, a little bit crayon schmutz right there. And you got that, they all had that same exact, like, somebody just took their bangs and went.
To be complementary to Senate Bill 1100, which IFPC research drafted and championed, and the legislature enacted in 2023. Senate Bill 1100 created statewide policy separating public.
A new bill is moving on in the Idaho State House. It would require certain people to notify parents if their child is intending to transition their gender socially or medically, and provides harsh penalties if the parents are not told.
This is a different fucking anti-trans bill? Dog, I've been to fucking Idaho. There's not that many, like, it's not a trans utopia. It's not like, what the is there such a problem with transgenders in fucking Idaho that they need to spend so much time, money, effort, and resources on every possible way they can try and crack down? They're getting them, cracking down on the trans menace. They're really fucking sticking it to those evil trans. Bravo needs bacon. Thank you for $1. When I was a kid, I wanted to see every state in this country. As I got older, that changed drastically. Yeah, I had that a similar revelation 2 years ago when I went to Texas to visit a person I was at the time dating. Which it wasn't the worst thing in the world. I met some pretty cool people down there. But man, there sure is fuck all in Texas. If you're not in a city, woof.
Justin Court joining us now. Justin, what would this bill do?
Well, Hunter, House Bill 822 is what it's numbered. It would prohibit covered entities like healthcare providers, educators, child care providers from facilitating a child's medical, sex transition, or social transition without telling and getting consent from the child's parent or guardian. Specifically, it would require schools to notify parents within 72 hours if a student requests to use different names, pronouns, or sex-separated facilities.
So if a kid is just trying, we have it every day. There is a new one. This is one of the things, and I was writing about this earlier in the new video essay I'm working on kind of, I guess the focus and the tone is kind of our slop culture and why everybody is so depressed all the time. Why everybody seems to be feeling the same emotions, but nobody really wants to talk about it. And one of the things that you kind of, when you examine American culture and especially how it's trended, you can't help but ask, how free are we really? Because people get far more mad about being inconvenienced. Because the American mind equates convenience with freedom. How easily accessible are the things, whether they be vices, whether they be luxuries, how easy are they to get? Should they be easier? And if anything gets in the way of that, as we saw with COVID, immediately they act as though their freedoms are being impugned. But what in effect has happened is we have created this top-down panopticon society where even now down to children, parents want to have everything monitored. By the way, I guarantee it is a matter of time until there is some AI parenting app that partners with Palantir to monitor everything your kid does and bring it to you and say, your kid is texting a flirtatious thing to a member of the same sex. Your kid did a swear word on a Instagram post. Your kid made a goofy face in this thing. We are going to, like, I feel so fucking horrified and bad for not even Gen Z, the next generation, because what is being set up with AI and how that is rapidly just diluting and dissolving people's gray matter in real fucking time. I can only imagine the effects of the rest of the world that those kids have to grow up in, where they are not free in any way to ever make a mistake, to ever learn from something, to ever try and grow without every eyeball in the fucking universe on them, tracking their every bit of data from their parents to other people on social media. Like, it's just, they can't even be able to, because here's what it is. Being able to express yourself, to present even as a different name, different pronouns, whatever, is a necessity of adolescence. Whether it becomes embarrassing, whether it becomes your identity in the future, whether you learn something about yourself, whether you just try it on. Being able to experiment with who you are when you are at your most malleable. I wish I was able to have done that. There's so many other people I know, and this is not even just a trans thing. This goes for being afraid when there is so much judgment upon you in those teenage years. It is so hard to be willing to step outside of that box of expectations between other people and the ones you have for yourself and what you want your future to look like. And shit like this just makes it harder for kids to be able to have that natural growing experience. Fuck. Chaotic Kitten, thank you for 10 months. Same anti-trans shit is happening in Alberta, Canada. Provincial government notwithstanding clause. Use the notwithstanding clause to make sure it's not overturned in court. It's a human rights violation. That fucking sucks. All right, let's finish watching this.
Just passed the House there that sets for a second offense using the bathroom a 5-year prison sentence. It is the most extreme anti-trans bill that I've seen in any state. And in that bill, the Fraternal Order of Police came and testified against the bill because they said, we don't want to have to inspect people's genitals and throw them in jail for 5 years. But that is how far they're going. I'll also add that bill, it's a second offense using the bathroom, 5 years in jail. Idaho has a 3 strikes law. So if you get 3 felonies, you can get jail up to life. Like, that's how the Idaho criminal code works. So if you use the bathroom 4 times in Idaho, you could be in prison for life as a trans person if this bill passes. And so, yeah, I don't know where the bottom is here. Like, where does this end? Where does this go? Like, what will be enough for them? And I haven't seen it yet.
It's also, we did an interview a few weeks ago about the neo-Nazi contingent within the state of Idaho. It has, some of the more far-right elements in the entire country. But it's not unique, to your point. Idaho, if this legislation goes through, they'd be the 10th state to also ban Medicaid funding for gender-affirming care for anybody. Can you speak a little bit about the efforts to ban gender-affirming care across the country and where we're at in terms of total states?
Yeah, absolutely. So roughly half of the states in the United States ban gender-affirming care for transgender youth, and we are seeing an expansion of this as well into a new phase. So earlier, just last month, the Heritage Foundation president got onto a podcast and announced that it was the Heritage Foundation's intent to ban gender-affirming care for everyone, to outlaw it for everyone, he said. And immediately afterwards, we started getting news that, the president was starting to target transgender care nationwide, and that Republicans were starting to target transgender care nationwide through Medicaid bans. And we just got a Fourth Circuit decision, which is the circuit that I belong to. I'm in the DC area. We just got a Fourth Circuit decision that specifically says that states can pass laws.
If I ever make it over to Washington D.C. again, I should hit up Aaron. That would be a cool interview. I've been following their work for a really long time, and I'm pretty sure if I'm not in the Hy-Vee chat on Twitter, I'm pretty sure she's in the Hy-Vee chat over on Blue Sky.
That can make transgender people appreciate their sex in Medicaid bans. So
I don't keep up with it because I'm in 2 Hy-Vee chats, I think, on each website, and I just lurk.
These are gender-affirming care bans for transgender adults whereas you cannot get it covered through Medicaid. And we did see in just this last appropriations fight in Congress.
I'm sorry, Aaron, can I just pause for a second? When they say appreciate your sex, can you explain what that means? That means that you've got to just be not trans. Like we are erasing your identity.
So this is the thing, is that the precedent is now set in court to where basically any law that you pass against a trans person could be considered legal because you are helping them appreciate their sex. So right now it might be a Medicaid ban on transgender adults, but in the future, what if it's, psychological commitment, which we have seen Republicans, certain Republicans stand up and say that that's what they want for us. Nancy Mace has said that, for instance. And so again, I don't know where the bottom is here, but yes, there are increasing attempts to ban gender affirming care for transgender adults. We actually see this right now in incarcerated trans people who are currently being mass detransitioned in the federal prison system, and where the new guidelines is to withdraw their gender affirming care and to put them on psychotropic medications. So this is basically psychotropic medication conversion therapy that they are currently attempting in prisons right now. And it's terrifying as a transgender person who's not in jail, who knows that if I drive through Idaho maybe in the future and they put me in jail, then I could end up on, psychotropic medications trying to detransition me.
And are these medications, are these prisoners in the prison that assigns with their gender, or in some of these instances are these trans, and that, you worry about trans women and the danger there, being forced into, say, male prisons under these conditions?
Yeah, so in many cases, they are forced into male prisons. There are several states that do this, as well as certain fights in the federal prison system where this is also occurring right now. And just so that your listeners understand how horrifying this is for a transgender woman, there is an unofficial practice called V-coding or V-carding, where they will place a transgender woman with an unruly inmate to basically quell them. And you can basically imagine what that means.
Yeah. One.
All right, chat. That is, I do have to get going. I will be covering, I think, Wednesday, if nothing big happens, God fucking willing. Wednesday, I think I'm going to try and do the next slice of conservative comedy. But in the meantime, let's go over, visit our friend Maple Takes, go over, say hi, follow along, go spread the gospel of Dead Domain. Harry Dune, thank you for following. And I hope y'all are looking forward to this next video because I'm putting a lot of work on it. It should be, I don't know if it'll quite measure up to the nostalgia video, but I'm hoping to make it something pretty special, or at least a good follow-up to it. So with that, I hope to have y'all check out the channel.